We're back in Stareport. Brickwork is all finished. We've just loaded all the timber into the garden through the gate behind me. And we've got ourselves set up, trestle set up, ready to go for the warm deck flat roof we've got to put in at this job in Stareport. So I'll spin you around now. We'll say good morning to Michael. And he's got a bit of a bad cough, unfortunately. He's poorly bad. He's poorly bad, bless him. And he's still here because it's only 4 minutes away for him, so it don't matter. I'll show you what we're going to do, talk about what we're going to do. Right then. Go on in, Coffee Michael in the sunshine.
Good morning, look at my bad chest.
So, we just... Oh, God. Saftness, I do love a bit of saftness. Timber, plywood, timber, trestles, ladders, trestles. Right then. Brickwork's all finished. What we're going to do now is, first of all, bit of a wall plate there, look. Plan is, double 9x2 sits on there and spans to that one there. Reason being is we can't bolt to there because when we take these panels off, I'll show you, but it's just plywood and building paper behind this panelling. It's metal panelling, it's got to come off. So I'm going to independently, from there to there, double 9x2, C24s, and then span from there to that wall plate. 600 centres. I've got about 2.8, I think it is, to there from the double. So it's 8x2 as well, C16, so it's going to kill it. And then I've got to cut the fern strips, put the plywood on, insulation, damp-proof membrane, not damp-proof membrane, the, you know what I mean, don't you? The damp mat layer, can't get my words out. And then rubber roof on top of that. So, let's get on with it, shall we?
Frightened me then. I know he was there.
Scared him to death. As you can see, it starts from the bottom with the starter trim. We're going to cut that off as well. I'll explain more as we go, but we're going to take all these off to expose this, cut these back, make sure there's plenty of fixings in as we go because we're going to be leaving in, we think that's top of roof there, so we're going to leave this one in. If you have to fix through, maybe put some white plastidomes or something on it, all siliconed in, to then, once the lead goes up the back of it. That's what I'm thinking. That's what.
It's going to be awkward. You can see there's no poke underneath.
Yeah, we can't get underneath it like that because you know we don't think that'll be adequate enough just to stick it underneath that or sort of under there. I don't think you get it under there anyway because it's too tight. So we're gonna have to suck and see this one because that's just plywood and building paper. That's all that. Well, it might be clinker block, hadn't it? I think it might be clinker block. Could be, but I'm presuming it's paper and
Timber.
And timber with plywood on. I'm presuming. So that's what we're doing first. Expose this, and then we can get our 9x2 in here once we've got these laths cut back. We'll put the 9x2 together on the bench, lift it in situ, get a length, lift it in situ. It's going to be glued and nailed and coach bolted together to carry our structure. Then we'll set out our jiffy hangers, and off we go. Get ourselves a level onto there. And then what we're going to do, because we've got 8x2, we're going to come across here, and again, this is all to try and stop the massive fascia on these warm decks. It's a problem with them, isn't it, Mick? It's huge fascias. It's silly. So what we've done is we've brought the outer face up 2 bricks. I'm going to bring the 8x2 onto here, so I've got my structure. I'm going to carry it across the cavity because it's treated timber anyway, and this is all insulated. And then I'm going to notch over there like that, and I should end up with a notch about, I don't know, what have I got there? 150, about 40 mil maybe. Which all that's going to do for me is just catch the bottom of a piece of ply. And then what I might do is I might put a lath in between them as well, because I've gone 600 centres just for structure. And then that's what we're going to do all the way around, notch it. And then on the sides, I'll then put a fern strip to match on top of the block work, to match the roof, cut out of a piece of timber. And then we'll just run our ply over the face, and that's what we're going to do. So hopefully you enjoy this series. What we're going to do now is we're going to fix our beam together, our double 9x2, which goes from wall plate to wall plate. Again, because we don't know what the structure's like behind there. So my concern is we fix anything to that, it's not really structured very well. It's then going the way to the roof. So I don't want to do it. So what I did was he put me 2 bits of wall plate in there, level to this one. Level, we think it,
It is.
It is, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. But what we are going to do is this. So if you can imagine my little epoxy drawing now. There's been double 9x2. What I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to stick a piece of 50mm insulation, like that, onto the back of it, so it'll sit against this paper. And then run my fern strip. I'll put my, because I've got 8x2 timbers, because I've got 9x2 double 9-foot structure, C24. Then I put my 8x2 rafter on like that. Then I run my fern strip over there like that. Ooh, pardon my drawing. Notched over the top like that. And then when I put my plywood on, the plywood will go like that, 3/4 ply. And then what I'll do is, once I've done that, the insulation that's going on the roof, which is 150, is going to go like that. Isn't that a great drawing? Look at that. Insulation's going to go on top of there, so hopefully there's going to be no cold bridging at all, if you want to call it that. It probably isn't cold bridging, but this is what I've got in my head to try and, I don't know how thermal efficient this is, to try and seal all this in, seal our roof from the inside. We'll go on the bench, make the beam up, cut the insulation, and then stick it up here, and we'll start setting out for our rafters, flat roof rafters, onto here. Right then, should we do something, Mick?
Shall we?
Should we do something?
Near long enough now, should we do something?
Well, let's just, should we do something? okay there?
I'm okay. You don't want the issue. You got a thing and pick it up with your back.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm
Do you want to
fine.
go in the middle?
I didn't think I was going to do it in a one, but yeah, carry on then. Let me come in. Let me come in. Okay, I'm in. You fucker. Okay, you're clear. Clear.
Where's the bastard ton, man? Beams in place now. Insulation on the back, 50mm insulation. All we did was, which you wouldn't have seen on the time lapse because I did it with my GoPro up there, was I just fixed it onto the back with some screws and washers, just 2 screws and washers. All the manufactured edges are all together, so that's nice and tight, and they're all level with the bottom, and that's sticking up now. If you can understand my little rubbish drawing. Oh, we got another, they're falling over. What the aim is now is, or what I'm thinking is the furring strip will come notch over there now and come up to sort of here, and when the plywood goes on, the deck 3/4 ply will come up to there, and then the insulation then can go, I mean this has got to come off anyway, can go over the top then against the building, and that's all insulated then. And then obviously this under here will be plasterboarded, so it should all be sealed. We ain't got no cold air gaps anywhere. Maybe I'm thinking about it wrong, but that makes sense to me. That's the best way to do it in this instance with this whole possibly non-insulated, because they're going to have to insulate under here anyway, or cut this back to see what's in there to stop cold air going from the house, what will be in the house, into this void now as well. That's what I'll have to do. So we've just made up a plan now. We're going to put a timber across here onto the wall plate, notch over the brickwork and run it over about 50mm, and then what it means then is we can cut the bit of notch off that's over the top of the brickwork to a string line when we come to put our fascia on, which is only going to be 19mm ply on the face anyway, enough just to get the hockey stick bit of the capping board in tight to the brickwork. We don't need any venting because it's a warm deck. So we are going to do that now. I'm going to make a bit of a template to make sure it fits up and over. I don't want it too tight onto here. Enough just to maybe get a packer in after to support it, just to support itself, to stop it snapping off, even though it's C16, 2 inches, should be perfectly fine, just to carry from sort across that much, 4 inches anyway, should be perfect. We're going to leave the timber 10mm off this brick, so it comes on here, 10mm away from this brick, up and over the top. We'll put a packer under there, glue a packer under there as well to support it. And that's what the bottom of our fascia will fix to. So what I've done there is made myself a bit of a template. So when my rafter goes on, and I've got to cut this, and I've cut it wrong, because it's like that, isn't it? No, it's not. I've cut it right, like that. So when the rafter goes on, like that, that's going to be bottom of the rafter, over the top of the rafter. So that's going to be 50mm bet there, notch or whatever. All I will do now is, once I'm happy that that notch is right all the way along, I'll make sure this is level, and I'll pick my level up this time, which it is. So I know that that's, as long as it fits all the way down now, over the top, 10mm away like that. I'll mark this now. So I know that that is my inside. That's got to come off there now like that. That's the inside of my, or where my notch starts, should I say, my face of my wall plate. So I'll take it all the way down now, make sure it's the same all the way along. So I've got another one about there. Yeah. About there. Yeah. It should be the same one because it's all been levelled in, so it should all be perfect, shouldn't it? Yeah, that looks good to me. So I shall cut these now, these rafters, or me and Mick will use this template now to sit on top of the rafters, and we'll cut that out of the end of the rafter with a measurement of R2780 to there, which is 10 mil away from there. And then that's what we'll do, and then we'll sit the rafters on top of here, and
Robert's your mother's brother.
And what else can we say? The only thing we haven't got was short by 2 jiffy hangers. I forgot to bring the box with me today. I've got 4. So we've got the PPN nailer. We can fix 6 of them onto there. So we'll do the 2 outside ones. The other ones we can fix into place just by nailing. Put the rower noggins in the middle just for some structure. And then yeah, this is ready to go. And then we can retrofit these 2 jiffy hangers that we're missing after. Also, you would have seen when we glued and pinned the beam together, I dovetail them opposites. It just means that they can't pull out then when the timber dries out. Also, I have got some coach screws. Now, it was mentioned last time why we're using coach screws. Now, coach bolts, my opinion, only my opinion. I've done it before. You put them in wet timber, clamp them all up, and then I have known it, like this, like it is now, dries out nice, timber shrinks, and then I can undo the nuts with my fingers. So, my opinion is, once I stop coughing, no, it's you give me your bad chest now.
Yeah, stop kissing me, shouldn't you?
Well, you can't help yourself, can you? In the sunshine, I'll give it frisky in the sunshine. So, if I coach bolt it, it can't pull apart, can it? It can't move. Glued, nailed, coach screwed, M12 coach screws with washers straight together. Where can it go? Nowhere. That's where it can go. So let's crack on with that then, and we'll show you once we start getting to rafters in the air. So there we are. That's just basically what we're going to do now. And when I put my fern on there, we just had a bit of a chat. And I know 5 mil bigger on the end of my furring. So 55 mil that end, 50 mil this end, 5 mil this end to give it a little bit more thickness. But that is
30.
Yeah, 30 mil. We've got ply on that as well.
It's only,
and ply, remember, 3/4 ply.
Yeah.
As well.
But it's only to make the
all it is now, all that's
stable.
really for now is to catch the bottom of the fascia. So when we put the fascia, that on there, we'll put the fern on there, we put the 3/4 ply on there, then the insulation. So that bit of meat at the bottom is just to put a fixing in to catch, whether it's that or whether it's a rip of 1/2 inch ply, whatever, to form a fascia for capping board. That's all it's for. So it doesn't need to be any more substantial than that. So that'll sit on the brickwork now, like that. And we'll put a packer under there just to give it a bit more support, even though we don't need to. And that's it. We're going to go and give this a bit of a try, just to make sure it works. So we want it to work. But basically, it'll fix onto there, sit on the wall plate, up over the top of the brick, and then stick out past here. And then when we're ready, we'll get a string line, cut them all off to get one nice line. Even though we're happy to go off the brickwork anyway, but this is just an extra precaution to make sure it's 100% in. So when you look here, you don't see any deviation, which we always do anyway, because you could have deviation on that beam. You could push it further forward if you just cut them all the same length. You just don't know. That wall could be out, you just don't know. So we'll do that. And then we are looking at things like cutting fern strips and getting plywood up there and everything then. So let's have a look at that, shall we? Oh, noggins as well. But what we will do, I ain't going to talk anymore. Let's just do it. doing now is, and it's definitely not our idea, we've just seen it a few times and I'd used it on this as well, is fixing a packer, like I've done over there, look, onto the underside of the timber to sit your rafter on. And it just means it's just a bit easier when it comes, especially when you're trying to put the use the old PPN nailer to nail your what's it in. So there we are. Stick that on rafter now. Day one, week one.
Try and hold it still.
So there we are. That's rattled on now. Rafter sits on top of that. Means we've got another pair of hands in, trying to get both of us holding it and PPN in. We can just sit it on that and PPN away. There we are. We're going to use some 4-inch anyway, just to help us out, because we're going to have to put these on with 4-inch nails first, because we've got no jiffies, or we've only got two less than what we need. So all that roof's on now then. 2 jiffy hangers, Mick's just gone to fetch them. So we'll put those on in the morning. What you may not see on the time lapse is we used 2 pattern noggins just to make sure that these are all evenly spaced all the way across. So when we come to put the centre noggin in and the noggin across there, across the perimeter, we haven't got to start making different size noggins, which is a ball ache. So that's what we'll do. I'll make some more. I've got pattern on there ready to go, and I'll make up 12 more, or should I say 9 more, because I've already got 3, just to go in here, fill these in, and then we'll put a little bit of a noggin in there as well, just to brace wall to wall, and then we're quite good then. I'll start cutting the fern strips and we'll get the plywood on, and then we'll just sheet it over, because now we've got to wait for a more moisture barrier, so we've got to wait for that, unfortunately. So we'll leave that episode there then, shall we? Hope you've enjoyed this episode so far. So next episode we'll start looking at fern strips and plywood and vapour barriers and installing insulation things. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.